Good morning, everybody. Sorry. Okay. Hi. Sorry about that. We had a little, A, I had a technical difficulty just now, and B, we were running a little behind, and, things in life just happen. So welcome. I am on today with Eileen. Eileen is going to show you the straight out of line ruler. I'm excited because, as you know, every time she teaches us a new tool and technique, I learn because I get to hold the camera and learn things. So I feel like I have knowledge now. So sometimes if you guys call, I actually have an answer, which is pretty big. All right. So today I have Eileen. Don't forget, tomorrow I have my live at 9 and 11. So I have a lot of work ahead of me today, so I can get some goodies on that camera tomorrow. So, and then also just putting it out there, we have classes, Zoom classes. I know. People were in yesterday and they really want to come in and take a class. We are not allowed just yet to do that. So at this time, I am doing every week. I do have classes scheduled. It is Zoom, so you will have to have a Zoom account, but we do have that offered. So I know it's not ideal. We are recording them, so if you cannot attend at the time it's live, we are doing a recorded class, and then we'll send it to you after the class is done, or the next day, let's say the next day to be on the safe side, and then you can watch it. So it is actually maybe better, because sometimes I know people say the classes aren't the times that are convenient for them, but you can join the class and watch it later. We've been working on that for a whole week and a half, and I think with everything in the world going on and us learning technology and new ways of working, I think we have some of the bugs worked out and we have it set for you. So welcome, and I am going to turn the camera off of me and get on Eileen and let you guys learn about the straight out of line ruler.
Good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you, and I got a haircut. It feels wonderful. The straight out of line ruler is really an easy ruler to use, and you can make different patterns depending on the colors of fabrics that you make. I mean, what I'm saying is you can put a different twist to your quilt depending on the fabrics. This one, for example, is made with a straight out of line ruler, and I used some of Kim Deal's fabrics, some of the darker ones, and made it so that they're all going in a different direction. When you stand back, it's really kind of a nice wall hanging. All right. Now I'm going to walk you slowly over here, because over here I've got a couple of table runners that I made. One of them is one that I made for Christmas, and you can see I made this one so that we've got this line that goes up the runner, all right, all the way through, so it gives it some consistency, and at the same time uses the Christmas fabrics to make it look funky. And then I loved this, and I use this runner all the time at home, so it's been washed a lot. Again, I put the line like so, just as it is on the Christmas one, but this has got the pins and then the sayings in this section, my little block, and I've turned it so it gives it another very subtle pattern, and highlighted it with this terrific blue and the green on the outside, and these fabrics are all from a line that were coordinated and went together really well. So I'm going to show you how to make these little blocks. They look like so. I've got some blocks here. You see from that first wall hanging I showed you, that's basically what they end up looking like. You can change the look by the fabric that you use. Here's some different fabrics. And then I took these pinks and I made these pinks. And this also will show you that depending on what color you decide to put on the second section here, or the first section on this side, you can turn these so that, now let me see if I can do this. It always takes me a minute. Maybe I'm not going to do it because it looks like a pinwheel. Oh, let's do the pink. That's what I'm doing wrong. So you can turn it Sometimes I am a sandwich short of a picnic here. Okay, so you can make this kind of a look, which is what I'm working on right now in a little table runner I'm making for Halloween. And I think it's going to end up really cute, because what I've done, if we slide over this way, is I have taken some of our Halloween fabrics and I'm making a table runner like so. I'm going to put we're going to make another square to put on the end here today. Then I thought I would use maybe a narrow black strip around. And we've got these wonderful fabrics that, this one is the one I'm using in the blocks. This one here has all these wonderful sayings on it that you can fussy cut. And I have fussy cut one square and put it here in the middle, so it says give thanks. And I could use this for Halloween, or I could use it for Thanksgiving. And then I just found this. Isn't this awesome? I'm considering cutting one of these strips for the borders to put around the outside edge. Or maybe not, because we have a whole lot of other fabrics that I could choose from, and they're beautiful. And Alyssa says it's a new line. So, awesome. So, let's get about the business of making one of these squares. We're going to the cutting table first. The very first thing you want to know is that you're going to we're going to start with some 5-inch squares. So these are good for charm packs, all right? I'm going to take one fabric and put it right side up, and another one right side up. And we're going to just do it with 2 so that you can see what the process is. Now, on the straight out of line ruler, which looks like so, and I need to put that against something white so you can see it. If I put this on a piece of white paper, you can see that you've got a 4-inch line, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can use this to make large blocks as well as small ones. And you may need to read up on the ruler more if you're going to make big ones, because a lot of the measurements will change from what we're doing today. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this 5-inch line on my 5-inch square. Slide it right on there. So it looks like it fits right into the ruler. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm going to cut it. I always stop and think before I cut. Okay, so now in order to sew it together, I'm going to take the top one, I'm going to put it on the bottom. So it looks like so. And then to sew it, you flip this over and you sew on this side. Now, you'll notice when I do that, when I flip these over, the colors have switched up. That's fine, so you get one of each color. But here's the catch. When I take this to my sewing machine, I want to make sure I'm going to sew on this side. Because when I unfold that, I'm going to get a square. Do you see how the square is coming? But if I mess up and when I go to my machine, I sew it this way, when I open that up, do I have a square? So you need to be very careful about making sure that you're sewing on the left side. So when I flip that over, it's on the left side, and that's what I sew. All right? So I'm going to pretend that I've sewed these. However, I'm also going to mention that you can stack these, like these are 4. I can stack that 4 high. I could stack it 6 high, depending on how far I want to cut. In other words, how thick my rotary cutter would manage. If you have the big cutter and a sharp blade, you can cut through quite a few pieces of fabric. But if I cut this just like I did the first time, once again, I'm going to take the top one, even with this stack, I'm going to take the top one, I'm going to put it on the bottom, and that changes the order of this stack here. So that when I match them, I flip this over again to the left. I'm going to put it on there like so. And then you see, I've got another light colored one that I'm going to put with that blue one. Now, I can stack these up then, you see, take them to my machine and chain sew them so that it does not take very long to make a large group of blocks. Here I go with this one, there's the third one, and again. So I think maybe this gives you enough of an illustration to realize that when you rotate, when you flip that over, you're going to sew on the left side, and it's going to look wonky, but when I open it up, I will have a square. Okay, so those are all ready for me to sew when I go home today. I'm not going to take the time to sew them today, but what I am going to show you is that the next step is that you take your squares. Here are my Halloween squares that I'm working on. And I decide which side I want to sew a 1.5 inch strip to. In my situation here, because of what I'm doing on this table runner, I want the dark color here so that I can make a propeller kind of in my table runner. And so I sew my blocks on here. I need 4, I already did 1. So I'm going to take this then to my iron, which I'm not using today. But remember, the tip is take your blocks like so down on the edge of your ironing board and pull this up. And then I want to press it so it goes toward my 1.5 inch strip. There really isn't much pressing that you have to do on this one. Oftentimes I'll use my finger and make sure that I've got it the way I want before I take it to the ironing board. I also check this side, and with my fingers will make sure that I don't have any false stitch in the ditch seams here. I want this to make sure to be rolled back so it's nice and flat, which I think makes sense. Let me get these out of the way. There we go. So there I am. That's what it looks like. Now, this is where I advertise again the 4.5 by 8.5 inch ruler. You're going to discover this is very handy. I'm going to snip these so that they're all a unit of 1. Okay, so there we go. Now, this is the way we trim them, and I'm going to stand here. I wanted Alyssa to do this on the corner of the table. I don't have a mat that will rotate. I did have one, and I didn't like it because it wouldn't stay put on my table. It kept moving. So I learned to work on the corner of my cutting table. I'm going to find 3/4 inch line. So I'm taking my 1/2 inch line here because this is a 4.5 inch ruler. Here, I'll put it on the white paper if that helps. Here's my 1/2 inch that's built on the ruler because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. So I'm taking that 1/2 inch. I'm going to add 1/4 inch. All right. When I add 1/4 inch, that's a black. I don't know if you can see it on there. No, it's a white line. Okay. So I'm adding 1/4 inch. So you see the 1/2, and there's my 1/4 inch line. It's white. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut here on the right side. And then, now I put it in the wrong angle. Okay. Then what I do so that I don't have to rotate my mat is I move over this way and cut in this direction. You have to position your block so that you've got it just right. So what I did was I cut a 3/4 inch strip on that side. At the same time over here, I trimmed off the other side of the block. And I'll do it again 2 more times so that you'll see it. Then I take my ruler and I'm just looking for one of the black lines here, and I'm going to line that black line up on the edge of my 3/4 inch trim. I'm sliding the ruler over to the narrow side here, this narrow piece. I'm sliding it over to this side more than the other side. And I'm trimming that off. And then I'm going to walk around my table here, and I'm going to trim this side. And I have my block, and it's 4.5 inches. Now, I'll walk you through that again. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, 3/4 of an inch. 1/2 and 1/4 is 3/4. I'm cutting that side. I'm going to walk around the corner of my table. I'm going to trim this side of the block off. So now, if you look at it, you see there's nothing on either side of the ruler, which is why this ruler is so wonderful. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to find one of the black lines here, put it on my edge. Now, some of you might be saying, why are you sliding it over more to the narrow side? Well, when we cut this, we cut quite a bit off the bottom, and it made this a little narrower. So we don't want to cut too much off here because we want these to kind of balance each other. So we're just going to cut a little more off the wide end. For some reason, it gives it a little more of a consistent look. There we go, so that these are about the same. Not really, but somewhat. Okay, one more. Here we go. We'll do it again. I'm putting this on 3/4. You see how quick this can go? It's not hard. And then I'm going to cut on that side. So there's my block. I'm going to turn it, put one of those straight lines across on the edge of the trim. I'm going to slide it over a little toward this side. And on the wider side, I'm cutting off just a little bit more. And my block is 4.5. So now, I'm going to arrange this like so. And I've got my propeller. So it'll match my other ones. Now, when I sew things together, I usually am learning to sew top to bottom. I'm less apt to stretch what I'm sewing on. So if I sew top to bottom, that works better. So I am going to sew like so. Now ladies, when I take this to my machine, I'm very apt to get mixed up and sew the wrong side. So one of the things I've learned to do is to take, and if you don't have any of these, you need them. I take one of my clips, and I often will put the clip on the side I am going to sew. It's not that I necessarily need it to hold it together, but it tells my brain that is sometimes rather slow to stitch on that side, okay? So now I'm just gonna run over here to the machine. We're gonna sew these two sides. I'm using 1/4 inch seam. Better take that off. Now, if you're doing a whole table runner and you lay it all out and then go ahead and put your clips on, you can just go ahead and chain sew the whole bunch and it moves right along. It doesn't take long. I put this little runner, what I've got on here, together in a couple of hours last night. It wasn't. We were without electricity yesterday, so I was really scrambling last night to get things that I wanted for today. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this. I'm going to see if I could just cut it up here for now. And I want to make sure I'm putting it together correctly, which I am. And I want these to nest, so I'm just going to take this, and if I, like I said, if I had an iron, I would be pressing this, but these are pretty good. They kind of want to go in the opposite direction. So sometimes when people say, which way do you press them? I say, whichever the way they want to go. And sometimes they will tell you. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to now nest the middle seam. See how easy this is? And because they're all 4.5 inches, they want to go together. This is a fun ruler. And sometimes I will play around with the design, make my own little designs, and I made a whole quilt one time using this. But I alternated these are 8.5 inch blocks. I alternated them with like I did here, I put in a square from the Halloween fabric. So in the quilt I had the squares and I had the Halloween fabric like in between each one, and it was very pretty. So there's my square. Turns out great. Now, if you're clever, you can, if you're clever, you can spin this seam in the middle. And when you spin the seam, you want all of your seams to go in the same direction. You can tell this one is looking like it wants to go in the same direction around the wheel. This one, and this one. But this one is your oppositional child, you know, and it does not want to go that way. So what we want to do is we're going to tell it that we want it to go that way. And when we do that, we just need to get this thread here in the middle to let loose. And you should end up with, let me get my scissors because I'll show you that. You can just snip these threads in here because they really aren't holding on to anything because we've got our other seam. So now this one's going to go this way. This looks like a lot of work, doesn't it? A lot of times when I do this, it just will pop. But what ends up happening after I give it a press is this lays flat here. It's supposed to lay flat here. And then this one is now going in the same direction as the other ones. And you call it, it ends up a little checkerboard.
So it's like that.
So it ends up like this. So now when I take this and press it, you see.
You don't have a bump in the middle.
You don't. Now feel that with your finger and it's nice and flat.
Yep.
Now I laugh because I had an old quilting lady who said to me one time, don't worry about those, just take them out in the garage, put them on the cement and hit them with a mallet. And she used to do that with her quilts. That was the way they solved that problem. So apparently some things have changed. So now you see I'm going to put this on the end here. And I've got myself a nice little table runner. Or if I wanted to, you know, let's be funky. I could put it on this end if I wanted to. And have it offset so that if I put something here in the middle of my table runner, I can still see these tanks in my square here. I could have taken one of these and put one of these here, and then it would alternate. So I guess what I'm saying is, this is the kind of block where you can be creative. You can turn these blocks any way you want to and end up designing your own project. And you know what? That's short and sweet, isn't it? But that's how this block works. It's very easy. Any questions?
Not yet. I think you explained it so good.
I hope so. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll show you, just because we have the time, I'll show you the fall fabric that Eileen and I were talking about.
Do that. I'll come over.
All right. Eileen will be my Vanna.
I can pull it out or what? Yes, because sometimes it's nice to see it separate. Here is this one that has wonderful sayings on it. And I don't know about you, but I love sometimes when they put sayings on fabric. It makes it really nice. These would be nice for some of our AccuQuilt, for our pumpkin.
Oh, the pumpkin die?
And then to use these for borders around. And then there's this wonderful, wonderful sunflowers.
Which is fallish,
Yeah.
or, I
Also
mean,
summer.
summer. Yeah, like it's,
Yep. And they have the sunflowers also in orange. Okay. Here's another pumpkin. Oh, that's nice. I better tell you that these are very soft.
the store's open. You can gently
Can you
touch.
touch them?
We ask, just don't fondle everything as everyone, but I'm going to step around here.
Here is, just so you can see, here is the one with the sayings on this color fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And the pumpkin.
And I
seed.
think there's some even more further down.
Oh my gosh, yes. Here's the green sunflowers.
A brown. Oh.
Ooh,
We got
look
like
at
a
this.
tan pumpkin, a brown pumpkin.
Well, this whole thing is great.
Thank you.
Look at this. You pick good fabrics.
Thanks. I'll show you.
This one,
Oh,
you just might want to take a look at this. There's
that's
Halloween.
cute. Well, and I'll show you some new Halloween, which is a new color line, like colorway. It is Riley Blake, which next week I have Nikki doing a little Facebook Live, and some of these are all new. And they come in here. Yeah, they're just, it's not a bright purple, it's just a soft purple, which is really cute. And the green is soft. And then, so we do have our fall Halloween fabric out in East Aurora. Don't head over to Williamsville. I did not share. I was being selfish this time. I kept all the fall fabric and Halloween fabric because you guys know Scott always takes the fabrics from me. And then here are the panels that go with that line, which Nikki is making something out of that. So you'll have to watch next week on what she's doing with those. So you do know the store is open. You guys are allowed to come in. It is East Aurora. We're allowing 6 people at a time. Williamsville is 4. So
Show them the numbers on these in case they want
yep,
to order.
yep. Let me show you the numbers on the fabric.
In case they wanted to call them.
Yep.
That's 70.
So yeah, we have some new Memorial Day fabric, or let's say patriotic fabric. So we're trying to get, everything out so you guys can see, because you haven't been able to see everything for a while.
65. Oh, and I've got 3 over here.
Will some of these be in tomorrow's shopping? No. The new lines, I'm not cutting off of those just yet because we haven't had anybody in yet. So I'll add that maybe a little bit later. Next week, I can't remember. I think we said we'd do her live on Wednesday, but I don't know. I'm a day by day kind of person right now. I can't figure out what I'm doing tomorrow half the time. So I think we said Wednesday. I think that was the day she could do it.
Oh my God.
Don't worry, I'll fix it. So,
67 and 68. Here, bring it
okay, perfect. So here's the fall line. Here is the Halloween line. I love what Eileen did. Again, I learned how to use a ruler, which is fun. If I had the time, I would sew more. And what is interesting is if you look at it, they all look different with the same ruler, which I think is great. Like, it's not a pinwheel. It's like, to me, it looks like a zigzag,
Right.
on that one.
These are actually both the same.
They are, and I don't see the zigzag.
Well, here is the green.
Yeah, but I like this one. I can see it. I feel like I see it like throughout with the
Because
colors.
it's Dark,
Yep.
Darker fabric.
Yep. So I think that's really cool. And then the 2 that she had behind her, without making you sick, are the pinwheels.
Well, and that was just more random.
I think it's great. So we do have some of these rulers in stock, so you can call us. Everyone will hopefully know what you're talking about. The East Aurora store does. The Williamsville, I gave them the heads up. So I don't know if there's another ruler in the works of a Facebook Live.
Oh, I can always come up with another one.
Eileen, she comes up with something. I'm like, okay. So we'll try and get her to do another live. It's just timing. It's all about trying to schedule the classes, do lives, and now that the store is open, greet you and work with
Show
you.
them what we're going to do a class on this afternoon if they
Oh,
want to get in it.
that's right. Eileen has a class today on Zoom from 2 to 5, and it is the Wonky 9-patch. I named it. We named it, and I can't remember. The Wonky 9-patch
The Wonky 9-patch quilt.
quilt. Wow. The cost of the ruler, I think, is 22 something. Here, I'm going to show you, Eileen. This is the quilt that you'll be learning today. If you want to take the class, there are still openings because it's Zoom. So we're not limited to how many people sign up.
The only catch
is,
they have to have a large rotary cutter with a sharp random blade.
okay, the only catch is that you have to have a rotary cutter with a sharp blade.
Yeah, it's got to, if they can have the biggest one,
Okay,
it's got, what is that, 60?
60.
Yeah, because we're going to be cutting through a lot of fabric.
So the ruler is straight out of line ruler, and the pattern is your creativity for today. The ruler that we are talking about today.
But
This is not straight out of line. This is something special that Eileen is teaching today for her Zoom class.
And they use just a 6.5 by 24-inch ruler, that's all.
Oh, you just learn a long straight ruler for the Wonky 9-patch.
Yep.
So fun. We try and come up with new classes and keep you learning new things and fun and exciting and entertaining. Thank you. I was thinking for the word, trying to think of the word. So that's what's going on. So today, there is no pattern for today's ruler. It's your creativity, but they do, Eileen, on the ruler, do they have they have the black piece of paper that gives you suggestions. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, on the ruler,
there are some other designs
there are,
that they can
yep.
do.
So there's other designs you can do with the straight out of line ruler. So they give you, they help you. The Creative Grid company helps you.
But if you lose your black paper,
Oh,
then you're stuck. I have lost my black paper.
if you
So
lost
that's
your,
one of the reasons why I did not show you these other two
Okay.
blocks. But
I
am
bet
going
you
to
we
have
could
to
find you a
find
black paper. So yeah, so when you open up the ruler, there's
It says creative.
it says Creative Grids and what ruler it is. But if you open that up, there's instructions or tips and tricks on there too. So that's really helpful too. Just keep the black paper is the rule here.
Because a lot of the patterns using this ruler don't always tell you how to cut. You have to refer to that black paper.
Black paper. Okay. So thank you, Eileen. Thank you for coming in today. You will see her again. And again, if you want to sign up today, give us a call for the Zoom Wonky 9-patch quilt that she just showed you. And we will see you guys all next week. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, me and you, 9 and 11. I got a lot of work to do, but we will be 9 and 11 tomorrow for my shopping spree. All right, enjoy the rest of your day. It's a little cooler out there, but it's still gorgeous. And we will see you in the morning. Bye, guys.